Good evening, everyone. My name is Cam Hoyt. My pronouns are he, him, his, and welcome and thank you for joining us to our seventh Virtual Star live session of 2021. To get started, I'm just going to share a quick couple pieces about myself, make some brief announcements, and then we'll get started with today's session on the student involvement experience. So as I said, my name is Cam Hoyt. I'm one of the program coordinators here for Purdue, and I've been at Purdue for a little over 2 years now. So my first announcement is that we are in our 6th week of Virtual Star. Thank you so much to the 8,700 students who have already completed V-Star. You may have saw this on our social media platform earlier this past week, but we do also want to encourage you to follow us at All Aboard Purdue on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. That honestly is one of the best things I could ask you to do. Help us get to 10,000. So my second announcement for this evening is, as a reminder for those who have not yet finished V-Star, your time is running out. Please complete V-Star modules in Brightspace. You only have 2 weeks left to do that and meet with your academic advisor. Both of these must be finished no later than June 30th. That's 2 weeks from yesterday. With the recent announcement that Purdue will be welcoming their largest class ever and nearly almost 9,000 already completed V-Star, the sooner you complete V-Star, the sooner you can meet with your academic advisor to preference your first semester courses. This evening's session is going to focus on student involvement experience, and we have a few student experts here that will help us talk us through this process. At this time, I would like to officially bring in Cassandra Salazar, tonight's moderator, to learn about her and her role and get things started with our student panel. Welcome, Cassandra.
Thanks, Cam. My name's Cassandra Salazar, and I work in the Student Activities and Organizations Office, also called SAO. We are on the 3rd floor of Kroc, and we are also super active on social media. So I really encourage you to follow us. Our handle is Purdue SAO on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Definitely follow us on Instagram, though, because that's where we're really active, and we post all about the student organizations on campus, any updates, free food, anything like that. So definitely follow us there. And our office really tries to connect students with their passions, their academic areas, any kind of other interests. And we have over 1,000 student organizations on campus. And I'm here to moderate a panel today from some expert students. So I'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves. So panelists, if you could please just share your name, different areas you're involved with on campus, and anything else you want to share.
I'll go ahead and go first. My name's Molly Grosjean. I'll be a rising senior this upcoming fall, studying agribusiness. And I've been really grateful to be involved on campus in organizations including the Purdue Grand Prix Foundation, Purdue Foundation Student Board, Old Masters, Rising Professionals, and a few others, and just excited to be with you all tonight.
I can go ahead and go next. Hello, everyone. My name's Olivia Wyrick. I'm a rising junior at Purdue, dual majoring in natural resources and environmental science and political science. I grew up on a family farm around 45 minutes from campus, and I'm a 3rd generation Boilermaker. But it was really important for me to pave my own path at Purdue and get super involved. Currently, I'm involved in Greek life. I'm an ambassador for my major. Ag Week Task Force. I work in undergraduate research, and I'm your 2021-2022 Student Body Vice President. So I'm involved in student government as well.
Hi everyone, I'm Nachi Alpargata. I'm a rising sophomore in aerospace engineering. I'm from Virginia, and on campus I'm involved with Purdue Student Union Board and Purdue Alumni Student Experience Board of Directors, as well as being involved in undergraduate research in physics.
Amazing, thank you. So as you can see, we have a wide range of different students on this panel today. And so they will represent a couple of experiences on campus, but we know that each student has their own journey. So I do want to hear from you three next, and I want to hear how you started getting involved on campus. So tell me what that looks like for everyone and when that took place, right? So did you get involved as a freshman, or did you wait a little older? Was it in person, virtually? Just go into detail of how that started.
Yeah, I can take this one. So, like I said, it was really important for me to get involved on campus. I knew it would help Purdue feel like home for me, even if I wasn't that far away. I really wanted to immerse myself in campus. And so I did primary Panhellenic recruitment and joined a sorority. So that gave me a really strong support system right off the bat. But besides that, I really, you'll probably be told this a lot at Purdue, but my suggestion for you is to get involved in your major, in your department. You can do some kind of large organization at Purdue, and then do something for fun. Find an interest, find, some kind of quirky club that you didn't have at your high school, and just, attend a meeting. The worst that can happen is that you get free pizza. So yeah, getting involved on campus for me looked like going to the Be Involved Fair for, in general, the Be Involved Fair, but then also attending the one for my college, so that I was able to learn more about organizations within my college. And honestly, the reason I'm student body vice president and so involved in student government is at one of these involvement fairs for the College of Agriculture, I met a student senator, and he said, "Hey, do you want to show up to this committee meeting? It'll be great." And I just showed up, and I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know anybody, but I just kind of took that leap of faith, and it got me to where I am now. So don't be scared to just show up to a meeting, even if you don't know anybody.
I can add on to that. So for me, as a rising sophomore, I was a freshman last fall in 2020. And for me, it was a bit unorthodox. I was not involved in BGR, so I missed the Be Involved Fair, unfortunately. So a lot of my initial involvement was basically just going through Boilerlink and trying to see what call-outs were happening and attending the ones that I thought were pretty interesting. But a few of my club involvements were also kind of random. The way I joined Purdue Student Union Board was I was just walking through the union, just coming from an interview for a different organization, and I saw a flyer for PSUB, Purdue Student Union Board. And it seemed pretty interesting. I kind of liked what they were doing, and I reached out to them. I applied, and I interviewed, and eventually I got into that organization. And outside of that, with the Purdue Alumni Student Experience Board of Directors, that was just after I joined the Purdue Alumni Association. They sent out emails asking or encouraging people to apply and join the board of directors. And I just, on a whim, I just applied and interviewed, and now I'm here.
I started getting involved my freshman year during the fall semester. BGR, went to the Be Involved Fair, and it was just an awesome opportunity to understand all these different clubs at Purdue. So with over 1,000 student organizations, there's so many to pick from, so many interests that you can pursue. And so I walked around and found a couple that really sparked my interest, and that was really engaging and working with alumni. So Purdue has an awesome network and community of alums and people that support Purdue and want to see Purdue thrive. And I felt like the best opportunity for me to thrive was to get involved with an organization where I could learn more about alumni and the different career paths one could take after they were done with their undergrad at Purdue. So went to the Be Involved Fair, sparked interest in Purdue Foundation Student Board and the Purdue Grand Prix Foundation, and then followed those interests throughout my freshman year and got involved. So getting involved with those organizations looked like attending a call-out meeting, applying on Boilerlink, interviewing, and then being selected for the position. And I'm just so grateful for those experiences because they've just been a huge part of my collegiate career here at Purdue.
Thank you. And so one thing that I do want to point out is the Be Involved Fair is a fair where we have all of our student organizations. We have over 1,000 on campus, and that takes place the Saturday before classes start. So definitely go ahead and check that out. And I really recommend for you to get on Boilerlink first, and you can look at all the different categories we have. That way you can kind of see whose table you want to go to first, right? Because 1,000 is a lot of students. organizations to go visit. So that's my piece of advice. So next I want to ask you all, so once you started getting involved on campus, how did that change your semester or your year? How did your student experience look differently than before you were involved?
I can take this one. So my freshman year, I think I was just really interested in getting involved, and I was chasing a lot of things. So I was wanting to attend various different call-out meetings, or if there was an event on campus, like the annual grain pre-race, I wanted to attend it because I wanted to experience all of these rich Purdue traditions. You know, Purdue has many traditions, and as a new student, I really wanted to take advantage of those on my first year and then get involved. And once I kind of figured out some of the traditions I wanted to be involved with, some of the organizations, some of the people I wanted to interact with, I just followed and chased those throughout my collegiate career. So that looked like getting involved on an executive board after becoming a member of the organization, and then working with a team to execute various different tasks or initiatives on campus. So I would say as a freshman, I did a lot of chasing down different avenues. And now as my collegiate career has unfolded, I've done a little bit more of refining those paths and really chasing after the things that I want to make an impact in and that have had a great impact on me.
Okay. Olivia, do you want to go ahead and share?
I just kind of wanted to piggyback a little bit off of what Molly said. So yeah, my freshman year looked very similar to that. I just kind of got a little bit too over involved. I went to a lot of call outs and, was really just trying to find the best fit for me. But, as I've continued throughout my college career thus far, it's been very easy for me to be able to prioritize different organizations, know what I'm going to get the most value out of, what I can put the most value into, what I can, offer to different student organizations. So my piece of advice for you when you get to Purdue is to, if you find an organization or 5 or 6 that you really want to be a part of, don't be scared to let some of those go. You're not letting anyone down. So don't be afraid to prioritize the organizations that really stick out to you and the things you really want to be involved in.
I guess going off of both what Molly and Olivia said, my first semester here on campus, I wasn't involved in too much, and I realized that I felt like something was kind of missing from my life. And so I started reaching out and trying to get involved in a bunch of different organizations my second semester on campus. And after doing that, like both Olivia and Molly mentioned, I felt like maybe I wasn't as involved or as committed to some organizations. And so I'm kind of switching gears and looking at maybe clubs that I'm more focused on and more passionate about.
That's really great advice. I think Olivia made a comment earlier, like go to the call out. Worst case, you get free pizza. And I think that's great advice because I know a lot of the students who have been involved for quite a while, I always ask, okay, so what advice would you share with these students who want to get involved for the first time? And they say 2 things. They say, you got to find what's good for you. You're not letting anyone down. It's okay to go to a few meetings or go to a call out and be like, hey, this is not for me, right? Because you're going to find something else that worked out for you. And then the other kind of area I want to go into now is talking about the different kinds of student organizations we have on campus. So with over 1,000 orgs, we do have a wide range of areas. So we have cultural orgs, religious orgs, students who are into gaming, sailing, race car driving. We have absolutely everything. And I think it's really good advice. I can't remember who said it here, but, choose orgs in different areas of your life. Choose an org that's going to help you with your major, right? People who are in your classes, choose one that's just for fun, go practice stand-up comedy or dancing to de-stress after an exam week. Find a board that can connect you to alumni or an organization that can connect you to alumni. So that's something important to keep in mind. So my next question is, can you share the different types of organizations you belong to and kind of, I know sometimes it's in the name. So if you can tell us the name and kind of what that looks like and what kind of area in your life that touches on.
I can go first this time. So one of the organizations I was, or I guess out of the organizations I'm involved in, Purdue Student Union Board is a very event planning organization. They focus a lot on campus entertainment and providing events for students to really connect and have fun on campus. And then the Purdue Alumni Student Experience Board of Directors plans events for students involved in the Purdue Alumni Association. So that's more professional development kind of skills, like skills you can use in the professional world, resume reviews, things like that to help you out with your career. But another organization I was lightly involved with was Purdue's space program. And so that was something that was more specific to my major of engineering. And something I thought about a lot this year was it was a lot of technical hands-on experience, and it's definitely really great, especially when you're talking to employers about skills like that you've gotten outside of the classroom. But I felt like it was maybe a bit too much involvement my first year, and so that's something I wasn't as involved in. And so something I really looked towards in my first year was trying to get involved with organizations that weren't really particular to my major.
Yeah, one avenue that, thank you for sharing, I think that really hits a lot of what I was going to talk about. But one thing that I did want to share a little bit about my involvement, especially freshman year, I really found a love for service-based organizations, or even just finding volunteer opportunities within organizations. So you don't necessarily have to join them, but with one group, I went and cleaned up the Wabash River. A different one, I collected seed samples from a local land trust with a big group of people, and that was awesome. I've volunteered at ACE Campus Food Pantry. So, and even within PSG, you know, we've done the Winter Warmth Initiative, and we're the largest student advocacy body on campus. We're here to serve you. So finding service-based organizations were super fulfilling for me. And it was definitely a tool for de-stress, Cassandra, like you said. And that's been really, really helpful.
So I'll say that probably one of my favorite parts of my Purdue experience is the variety of organizations I've had the great opportunity to be a part of. So the first one so I serve also with Olivia on Purdue Ag Week Task Force, and it's a week-long celebration celebrating Purdue agriculture. And that's a really awesome organization that engages with the College of Agriculture, and I get to connect with all my agriculture friends. But the other great part about my collegiate experience is that I'm also involved at the university level. So Purdue Foundation Student Board works with the University Development Office and the Purdue for Life Foundation to educate the student body about the impact of private giving. So, you know, about 11 to 13% of Purdue's operating budget is funded by private giving, as well as, you know, many students receive scholarships due to private giving and things like that. So having the opportunity to educate students about philanthropy and private giving at Purdue is a really great opportunity to learn more about Purdue, but also to grow as a professional and as a leader within that organization as well.
I did want to add just one more thing. So all three of us here tonight are a part of larger organizations on campus, from student government to PSUB and Grand Prix. And a lot of these organizations, what I think is so unique about Purdue is so many of these organizations work together. They'll collaborate on service projects, programming, bringing in speakers. So by joining, especially a larger organization, even at a really grassroots level, you're still exposed to all these different aspects of campus. So I think that's something super unique about student orgs at Purdue.
Thanks for sharing that, Olivia. So my next question is, when you first started classes, or maybe even after, did you expect to be as involved or involved in these certain areas where you are at now? So, Nachi, did you expect to be in PSUB? Olivia, did you expect to be vice president? Molly, you know, involved with Grand Prix. Were these areas that you were already involved with before university? So like the topic areas, but also were you as involved before coming to Purdue?
So I can start and say, no, I did not expect myself to be this involved. I knew when I came to Purdue, I wanted to be involved in some capacity, shape, or form, and I wanted to chase those opportunities to get involved, but I did not ever think I would be as involved as I am. But I think what's really encouraged me to get even more involved It's just getting to know other people. So Purdue's a great place where everybody's different. You know, everybody has a different story, a background, foundation, that you all kind of work together to make something happen, or just get to know somebody. And I think what really encourages me to continue to stay involved is that there's so many different people at Purdue to get to know that have all these different interests. And that's my favorite part about getting involved. And I think that's what is the most important, and you know, I would call it the addicting factor about getting involved, is everybody's just so awesome and they're unique in their own way, and getting to work with that is a really great opportunity to, you know, develop how you communicate with folks and get to know them and work through things, and, you know, great opportunity to just continue to develop yourself as well.
I think if you told me my first day of classes when I was exceptionally lost walking to AGR 101, and told me that I would be student body vice president, now I would have laughed. But I think that's what, like Molly said, one of the most beautiful things about it is Purdue, you know, people come from all walks of life, all kinds of perspectives, and you get to be exposed to that. And so I think I'm now, you know, on the leadership side of an organization, but my first year, especially my first semester, looked like a grassroots level. I was, you know, organizing committee meetings or attending committee meetings, and in every organization, not just student government. And it really came down to learning about different student organizations and what they did. And that helped me kind of understand, again, priorities, where I wanted to invest my time, energy, and effort. And so yeah, really learning as much as you can about the people who run the organization, what they do, and really how they function on campus is a really good first step for wanting to be really involved.
Going off of that, I think I was definitely very, very involved in high school, and I thought that would kind of carry over to college, but that was not the case initially, at least. Definitely, I did not hit the ground running my first semester of college, and that was definitely because of COVID too. And I think the biggest takeaway from that is just, even with clubs and committees and call-outs and everything being moved back into person, there will definitely be a lot of things that are still hybrid, some things that might be completely virtual, and that unfamiliar environment, it might be a barrier to entry occasionally, but it's just a matter of getting out there and introducing yourself, saying hi to everyone, joining a club, and maybe you don't like it, so maybe you leave. But trying to essentially just test out how much you want to get out of your organizations, and trying to find where you want to be. It's a bit vague, but.
Thank you, Nachi. So we've all heard, right, how much your student involvement experience has impacted you as a person, but I really want to know more specifically how being involved on campus has affected you academically, professionally, and personally. And you can touch on all three, or just one, or just two. But I really want to know about those three areas. So academically, professionally, and personally. And if you need me to repeat those, I can.
I can speak a little bit about the personal aspect of it. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, being involved in service-based organizations, you know, gives me a great sense of fulfillment. Personally, I'm a really strong mental health advocate, and so being involved in things like Mental Health Action Week, and being able to kind of do that grassroots advocacy for MHA in my own sorority, with my roommates, with my friends, with people in other Greek houses all across campus. That was really great, and seeing my friends benefit from programming like that, and being involved in finding resources on campus was really awesome. But I would also say personally, I even think about my running mate, the president, Shannon Kang, when her and I ran, my friends and, you know, the people in my life that I surround myself with recognized my commitment to my student orgs and the difference we wanted to make on campus, and my love for PSG. And they invested in our campaign. They invested their time and their energy and their social media and advocating for us and campaigning for us. And that meant so much to me. Brought me so much closer to the people in my life. So personally, student orgs have made such a big difference. given me so many friendships, and just been really personally fulfilling.
I can talk a little bit about the academic side. So I think when you come to school as a freshman, your first time here and your first semester here, you're trying really hard to learn how to balance school and what do you need to do to study, and how do you, find and make friends and then find time to hang out with them while studying and doing things like that and getting involved. And so I think as a first year freshman, that was a challenge at times to try to understand how to balance that schedule and make time for sleep and all that mental health goodness that, you're encouraged to take advantage of while you're here. But looking at it now, I feel like I can manage my time and tasks a lot better because I'm involved. So that requires me to, I would say stay on beat with what's going on in my class so I don't fall behind, and stay on beat with what's going on within student organization so I don't fall behind there either. So it's a kind of an opportunity to learn a little bit about your bandwidth as a person. How much can you handle, how much can you work on as a student, while not, letting academics slip, or not being a student as a priority. So I think it's just been a really good experience to understand how to balance it all. I'm a person, I take my planner everywhere. I have to write down everything. And that's really kept me centered and focused on what I need to be doing.
My heart is glowing with all of these answers. All of you have had this huge growth and development, and that makes me super happy to hear. So, I'm talking to students right now that are really highly involved. And so I want to know, what does the involvement commitment look like, right? Because if someone's just now starting to get involved, right, like being VP sounds like a lot. And so can one of you break it down, kind of like the difference between, what the commitment would look like for being a general member versus executive board, or, holding a position like president or treasurer, and kind of break that down, right? Like, especially not everyone knows how these student orgs are structured. So kind of share some insight with us, please.
Great. So I can take this one. So I think when you're a general member in a student organization, as a time commitment, it looks probably 1 to 3 hours per week, just depending on what that may entail. So the 1 hour, the minimum could be just a 1 hour meeting per week, or there could be other opportunities throughout the week where you collaborate with a committee, or you work an event, or you host someone, whatever it may be. That's another opportunity for time in your schedule. But I think when you progress throughout the organization, and if you choose to pursue a leadership opportunity, that tends to look like a little bit more. And it also, I think, depends on the time of year too. So Grand Prix is a spring event. It facilitates an annual legacy go-kart race at the end of April. So my spring semester was a lot more packed with meetings and commitments and tasks than it was during the fall semester. So I think it just depends on what your class schedule looks like, as well as what organizations you're involved with, to truly understand your time commitment and your involvement and how much you want to give. Everybody's different in their amount of time that they want to give. And I wanted to give more time to a certain organization, so I made time in my schedule. And that's just me blocking out my schedule during the day of, okay, I'm going to go to class in the morning for 3 hours. And then after that, I'm going to get some lunch. And then after that, I'll work on some student org work for about 2 hours, and I'll have a meeting for another hour, and then I'll study for the rest of the evening. So it's just taking your schedule into your own hands and blocking out the time that you need based on the commitment you want to give to your student organizations, your academics, and things like that.
Thank you. So my next question, Nachi and Olivia, if you all want to take this one, is what are some strategies that you have used to balance your involvement with your academics, right? Because you are all students first. So what does that look like?
I can go first. The biggest thing is Google Calendar is now my best friend. The first 5 or so weeks of the spring semester this past year, I was a bit all over the place. I was trying to rush too, and so trying to manage all of the events going on and all my club meetings was a bit chaotic. But once I sat down, and even if it was just for the next 2 or 3 days, but just put on my calendar what I had to do or kind of just general time commitments that I had, then that helps so much. And I could just figure out, oh, I need to walk 20 minutes to go here, so I need to be done with X by a certain time or so. And Molly mentioned a few of those things too. It's something that it sounds, a lot of people mention it, it might sound a little overrated, but it does so much when you just put things on your calendar as soon as you get them.
Yeah, I will also say a big part of that academic student work balance is knowing when it's time to quit, knowing when it's time to shut off your laptop and go eat and rest and talk to your friends and take a break, take a breather. And that was really important for me, especially this past year with COVID. Just made life a little bit more challenging. But in terms of balancing academics and student orgs, Cassandra, you said it perfectly, your students first. This is what you're here to do. And Purdue, there's a high expectation for rigor. We are a world-class research institution, and you're always expected to put your academics first. But I've found, and especially a lot of the organizations that I'm involved in with my major, they overlap the skills that I'm learning in my, in student government apply to my political science classes. And that's been really interesting to kind of see that overlap. So again, kind of touching back on the last question, we are all three really involved, but you don't have to be at this maximum capacity level. You can do as much or as little as you would like to do, and you'll know your limit. You'll know, your breaking point. And I know keeping the calendar and keeping the mortarboard schedule and all of those kinds of things, it might seem, kind of daunting or just kind of tedious, but it is the best advice we can give you. And it'll keep you organized, and it'll keep you on top of every single thing you want to be a part of.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. We have a few more questions here. But if you were speaking to your younger self, or a student approaches you, right, and they're thinking of getting involved, what advice do you have for them? Or things you wish you would have known?
I can go first. So for me, the biggest thing I would say for any students getting involved, or even my younger self, I came off of 5 months of quarantine, lockdown, everything being virtual, not having as much face-to-face interaction as I usually do. And I was a pretty outgoing person in high school, but that really kind of basically changed my entire personality, honestly, a little bit. I would definitely say your comfort zone is not going to be where it should be or where it was. And you definitely have to push outside of that. And it's really a matter of you want to open up as many opportunities as you can for yourself. So if you do think you might want to be involved in a club, but you're maybe not super thrilled about going to an in-person meeting or something like that, you just got to do it. You got to take the leap, and then later on it'll pay off.
I want to follow what Nachi just said really quick. And like the whole comfort zone thing is so real. But one thing to really keep in mind is so many thousands of people at Purdue just moved to a new place for the first time. So grab that student that's sat next to you in class and be like, hey, do you want to come to this call out with me? Because they are thinking the same exact thing, right? Or, anyone in your BGR group or things like that. So if that makes it easier, go ahead and do that. I'll let Molly and Olivia continue.
I think the greatest piece of advice I would give to my first year self, it's kind of twofold. If you see older, super successful members of your organization or a really smart kid in a class or anything like that, don't be intimidated by them. They were once you, and I promise they're probably really nice, and they want to help you, and they want to mentor you. Some of the greatest student mentors I've had so far at Purdue came from saying hi to the oldest member of the group, whether that's in your fraternity sorority cooperative, in a student org, like I said, in your research lab. They have, wisdom under their belt, experience under their belt, and they want to share that with you. So don't be scared.
I certainly would echo what Olivia just said because I was also very intimidated by seniors and the organizations I got involved with my freshman year. Those are people that have experienced Purdue. They've, just done awesome things. But I think what kind of helps take yourself into a more comfortable situation is just asking them to go to coffee, just getting to know them better, talking to them for a couple minutes after a meeting. I think what makes Purdue so great is the people and the connections that you can establish here. And you just have to, take advantage of those opportunities and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I know it's really intimidating as a freshman to kind of come here and, oh, this is such a big institution. There's all these student organizations to join, and where are you going to find your fit? I went through the same thing mentally all the time too, but I think what kind of helped to make Purdue a home for me is just getting to know the people here, and by just being like, hey, are you free after this? You want to go get some coffee, or can we meet tomorrow and just talk a little bit more? I want to learn about you. And that opportunity just, paved a really great way for some really great mentors throughout my collegiate experience.
Amazing. Thank you. So, once a student decides that they want to get involved, what steps should they take? I want to go ahead and promote one area that I think would be really good. I definitely think if you are thinking of getting involved, or once you've made the decision you want to get involved, go to boilerlink.purdue.edu, and you are going to become very familiar with Boilerlink. It is the platform we use for all things student organization. So on there, there's a few tabs at the top, and there's one that says organizations. And if you click on that, you can see all 1,000 organizations that we have on campus. Once you click on those, each of them have their own page, and they have their contact information on there. Some have videos and pictures. They have links to their Instagram, their Twitter, their website. So definitely check that out. That is a great platform. And you can even request to join their roster on there. So if you just want to get some more information, you want to go to one of their org meetings, go ahead and do that. Again, follow us on Instagram too, at Purdue, at Purdue SAO. Sorry, I had to think about that. And we promote a lot of different orgs. So, we might post about the Jiu-Jitsu club, and that's something that really interests you, right? Or we post about events. Like, we give away so much free food. Sometimes we're like, hey, we're giving pie away. We are giving like candy bags away. So definitely follow us on there. But I'll let you all take it away on what you think your first step should be.
I think number one would be find out what your interests are. So maybe there was something involved in high school that you really liked that you're hoping that Purdue has. Maybe there's something in high school you did and you're like, no way, I'm not continuing that at Purdue. I had both of those experiences, to be honest. So I decided to come to Purdue and find a couple interests that I wanted to pursue. And like I said earlier, one of that was engaging with alumni and getting to know people of the Purdue community. And after evaluating my interests, I did some research on Boilerlink and I intended to be involved there. Or if there was someone in an organization I was in that was in another organization I was curious about, I just asked them about it. So oftentimes having conversations about student organizations with folks you may know that are in it or that may just know of it in general provide a really good foundation for getting involved and finding out where you can make an impact.
Yeah, I think especially, organizations, Nachi will probably talk a little bit, with PSUB or even, the student, like the different concert associations or, even this past Halloween, I saw Rocky Horror in person. So any of those kind of like entertainment, like the fun things that people put on, go to those. And if you, don't be afraid to strike up a conversation with someone in a polo or with the name tag and ask them more about what they do when the next meeting is. Definitely, just as you should follow Purdue SAO on Instagram, follow the org on Instagram. Most likely they have a social media presence. That's the easiest way for student orgs to get in contact with you. Again, with Boilerlink, I would, again, highly suggest submitting a little thing. I think you should just submit your Purdue email to get on someone's roster. That most likely adds you to the email list, so you stay involved and up to date with all of their meetings and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was gonna say Boilerlink. That's how I got involved first semester. That's a great way because all of the organizations are on there. Outside of that, like Olivia mentioned, all of the social medias, a lot of clubs have social media presences. So maybe you find a club that you're interested in, you could probably shoot them a DM and they could give you information about their call outs, or they might post about it. There's also always flyers all around campus that you can see and just follow their social media pages through that. Or usually there's flyers with like the call out times and locations and dates and things like that. And it might just be something as simple as asking your roommate what they're doing for organizations, what organizations they're involved in, maybe the people on your floor, maybe the person across the hall from you. It's just, you never know what might interest you. You never know. You might just be walking through the union and see a flyer that you for an organization that you like. So it's just about open.
I will also say that finding orgs in your classes is surprisingly easy. A lot of student orgs will go write something on a whiteboard in a classroom and write the date down. If you want to go, you can go. You'll probably get free food out of it or meet a new friend. And also sometimes professors will plug different organizations, whether it's for that major or something like that. Or if you see someone with a shirt, for that organization, it's kind of could be a little bit scary, but go up to and ask them. They want to tell you about their organization.
Love everything you all said. One thing that I just thought about is, I've been like plugging our Instagram this whole time. But we do share a lot of the accounts, right? So we have a lot of student orgs tag us. So then we share their profiles. And so you can even like go to who we're following, because we only follow student orgs, and you will find all of their pages right there. Their Instagram accounts should be linked to their Boilerlink pages as well. And also I want to just, because I feel like sometimes students think like everything's this very formal process. But it is 100% okay to send a DM on Instagram like, hey, I'm interested, or I saw you all have this event. Can you send me some more info? And it's okay to DM our account too. I have that all the time. Students will DM our account and be like, hey, are you all still giving away candy today? Or, hey, I want to start this new org. And that's actually something I want to bring up too. We do have a lot on campus, but we know that, with this huge student body, we might have a club that doesn't exist yet. And you actually have the ability to start your new student organization on campus. So, if there's something very specialized or unique or something like that, please reach out to us, because we will get that going on campus. And I do want to put a plug in. So this is going to be the first year. Nachi is one of our student SAO ambassadors, but it's a brand new program. And you can reach out to our office, and these ambassadors are all students. So, you can have that peer that connects you, kind of walks you through this process. And you can definitely check out our social media. We're going to be giving out the details there. And it's just a more like informal, and, you're able to interact with other student peers so that they can tell you their experiences, right? Because I'm a lot older than you all now, and things were different when I went to school. So follow us on social media. Definitely connect with SAO ambassadors. They are awesome, and they can definitely help you. So panelists, is there anything else you all want to share with students about getting involved?
Actually, there's one more thing that I remembered.
Okay.
Email. Definitely check your email. Don't just go through and delete all of your emails, because that's something I get into a bad habit of doing. But a lot of organizations, they do outreach through email just because it's pretty easy. It gets to a large audience. So definitely check your email. There might be something in there that you're really into that you just don't know that's there.
I just wanted to say, we're so excited to have you. From a student org perspective, we're so excited for the new talents and experiences and drive and motivation that you guys are going to bring to campus and the amazing things you're going to do. And we can't wait for you to be a part of our student orgs. So welcome to Purdue. You're going to have such a blast. You're going to learn so much about what you're studying, about yourself, about the world. And you should be really excited because we are too.
I would say my last piece of advice would be just get involved, just do it, put your foot in the water. I am a huge proponent of embrace the uncomfortable. That's where the growth comes. And that was something that I really took as my motto my freshman year. And there were many times that I was uncomfortable in situations. I will not lie. But it's that uncomfortable situation or experience that really helps you grow and develop, and you find out a little bit more about yourself and what you're interested in and things like that. So no, it's intimidating at first, but don't hesitate to jump right in. You're going to learn so much. And welcome.
Yes, that was great. Thank you all so much. Our panelists, Cassandra, for doing a great job moderating this evening. Also, a huge thank you to everyone watching live. We definitely appreciate it. I want to give another shout out to Ed Dunn and his team for helping us with this lovely live stream, and also my friends, the orientation programs team on the back end, help answering all those questions on YouTube. As a reminder, there are less than 2 weeks remain of V-Star, and remember, the sooner you finish, the sooner you get to meet with your advisor. We'll hope that you continue to make progress so you can get closer to getting your first semester of classes. Next week, join us for our virtual live session. It's going to be held Thursday, June 24th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're going to talk about mental health and wellness at Purdue. We hope to see you then. Until next time, thanks for joining us and have a great day.